One of the most intriguing aspects of human relationships is their inherent complexity. These relationships are dynamic systems governed not only by explicit agreements and shared values, but also by implicit behaviors, emotions, and underlying patterns that often reveal more than words ever could. When we examine the phenomenon of infidelity, particularly in the context of a man cheating, we must delve into the multifaceted layers of psychology, sociology, and even biology. Cheating is rarely an isolated act, but rather a symptom of a deeper disconnection, both within the individual and within the relationship itself. At its core, infidelity stems from a breach of trust, yet the behavior leading up to such a betrayal is not always overt. It often begins subtly, with a man creating emotional or physical distance, whether intentionally or subconsciously. This withdrawal is significant because relationships thrive on consistent connection. When a man begins to detach himself from his partner, he is often attempting to create a space where he can justify his actions. In many cases, this justification is rooted in a complex interplay of dissatisfaction, unfulfilled desires, or unresolved personal issues. This doesn't make the act of cheating justifiable, but understanding these mechanisms is crucial if we are to dissect the behavioral patterns that accompany it. A cheating man often exhibits changes in his behavior that may seem minor at first glance but become increasingly pronounced over time. These changes are often the result of cognitive dissonance, a psychological state where a person's actions conflict with their values or self-image. For example, a man who values loyalty but engages in infidelity must reconcile this internal conflict. This reconciliation often manifests as defensiveness, irritability, or even an exaggerated display of affection toward his partner to alleviate guilt. These behavioral shifts are not random but are deeply rooted in his internal struggle, making them critical indicators of underlying infidelity. Another notable behavior is a sudden increase in secrecy. This secrecy might involve his phone, social media accounts, or other means of communication. While privacy is a natural and healthy part of any relationship, secrecy goes beyond privacy. It involves deliberately hiding information to avoid consequences or scrutiny. A man who is cheating often becomes hyper-aware of his digital footprint, meticulously deleting messages, changing passwords, or even acquiring a second phone. This level of vigilance is not merely a precaution but a reflection of the fear and anxiety associated with being discovered. Cheating also introduces a distinct shift in priorities. A man who is engaging in infidelity often begins to allocate more time and energy to activities or individuals outside the relationship. This might be disguised as a newfound dedication to work, hobbies, or social obligations. However, upon closer inspection, these activities often serve as a cover for his extramarital interactions. The inconsistency between his stated priorities and his actions is a glaring red flag, particularly when his availability to his partner diminishes without a clear explanation. Emotional disengagement is another hallmark of infidelity. A cheating man often struggles to maintain the same level of emotional intimacy with his partner. This disengagement may manifest as a lack of interest in shared activities, reduced communication, or an inability to express genuine affection. This is not to suggest that every moment of emotional distance in a relationship is indicative of cheating. However, when combined with other behavioral shifts, it becomes a significant piece of the puzzle. Emotional disengagement often serves as a psychological defense mechanism, allowing the cheating individual to compartmentalize their actions and avoid confronting the emotional toll of their betrayal. A man who is cheating often becomes hypercritical of his partner. This criticism may stem from his own feelings of guilt or dissatisfaction, which he projects onto his partner as a means of justifying his actions. By focusing on perceived flaws or shortcomings, he creates a narrative that absolves him of responsibility. This dynamic can be particularly damaging, as it not only erodes the partner's self-esteem but also deepens the divide within the relationship. The partner may begin to question their worth, further complicating an already fragile situation. A cheating man might also exhibit periods of unusual generosity or attentiveness. This behavior is often a subconscious attempt to compensate for his betrayal. He may buy gifts, plan elaborate outings, or shower his partner with compliments. While these gestures might appear positive on the surface, they are often inconsistent and lack the genuine connection that defines a healthy relationship. This pattern of overcompensation is another way in which the cheater grapples with his internal conflict, oscillating between guilt and self-justification. Financial discrepancies are another potential indicator of infidelity. A man who is cheating may begin to spend money in ways that are unaccounted for or difficult to explain. This might include unexplained withdrawals, mysterious purchases, or an overall lack of transparency about his finances. Money, in this context, becomes both a tool and a liability, as it often leaves a trail that contradicts the cheater's narrative. Financial secrecy, like emotional disengagement or hypervigilance, is not merely a symptom of infidelity but a reflection of the underlying deception. Cheating also alters the way a man interacts with others, particularly those within his immediate social circle. He may become more guarded or evasive when discussing his whereabouts or activities. Alternatively, he might begin to withdraw from social interactions altogether, fearing that his behavior will be scrutinized or that his guilt will become evident to those who know him well. This change in social dynamics is often subtle but significant, as it represents another layer of the deception that defines infidelity. It is crucial to acknowledge that cheating is not an isolated act but part of a broader pattern of behavior. It reflects deeper issues within the individual, whether they involve unmet needs, unresolved trauma, or a lack of personal accountability. Understanding these issues does not excuse the behavior but provides a framework for addressing the root causes. Infidelity is a complex phenomenon that cannot be reduced to a single explanation or solution. However, by examining the patterns and behaviors associated with cheating, we can begin to unravel the intricate web of deception that defines it. When we examine the underlying motivations that drive a man to cheat, it becomes apparent that the behavior is not always premeditated. Infidelity often arises from moments of vulnerability or a perceived lack in the current relationship. These moments are not always dramatic or overtly significant. Rather, they may be subtle instances where the man feels unnoticed, unappreciated, or disconnected. The human need for validation and connection is profound, and when these needs are not met in a relationship, individuals may seek fulfillment elsewhere. This does not excuse the act of cheating, but provides a lens through which we can understand the choices involved. In many cases, the initial stages of infidelity are emotional rather than physical. Emotional infidelity is insidious because it often begins under the guise of friendship or innocent connection. A man may find himself confiding in someone outside the relationship, sharing thoughts and feelings that he no longer communicates with his partner. This emotional intimacy can create a bond that feels novel and exhilarating, blurring the lines between platonic and romantic connection. The danger here lies in the gradual erosion of boundaries. What starts as a seemingly harmless connection can evolve into something deeper, ultimately crossing into betrayal. Another key factor is the allure of novelty. Human beings are inherently drawn to new experiences, and this can sometimes manifest as a desire for new romantic or sexual connections. For a man who is cheating, the excitement of a new relationship can temporarily mask feelings of inadequacy or dissatisfaction. The novelty provides a dopamine rush, creating a sense of euphoria that contrasts sharply with the routine of a long-term partnership. However, this euphoria is fleeting, and the underlying issues remain unresolved. The pursuit of novelty, while exhilarating, often leaves a trail of emotional devastation in its wake. The role of societal expectations and cultural narratives also cannot be ignored. Men are often socialized to view success in terms of conquest or achievement, including in their relationships. This can create a mindset where infidelity is seen as a marker of desirability or power rather than a betrayal of trust. Media portrayals of infidelity often glamorize or trivialize the act, further reinforcing these harmful narratives. For a man who is already struggling with internal conflicts, these societal cues can act as a catalyst, normalizing behavior that would otherwise be seen as unacceptable. Communication, or the lack thereof, is another critical element. In many relationships, couples struggle to address issues openly and honestly. This lack of communication creates a fertile ground for misunderstandings, resentment, and unmet needs. A man who is cheating often feels that his concerns or desires are either unheard or unimportant within the relationship. Rather than addressing these issues head-on, he may choose the path of least resistance, seeking fulfillment outside the relationship while avoiding difficult conversations. This avoidance is not only harmful to the relationship but also perpetuates a cycle of disconnection and betrayal. It's also important to consider the role of personal accountability. A man who cheats is often unwilling or unable to take responsibility for his actions and their consequences. This lack of accountability is a significant factor, as it allows him to rationalize his behavior rather than confront it. He may blame external circumstances, his partner, or even the pressures of life, effectively deflecting responsibility from himself. This deflection is a defense mechanism shielding him from the guilt and shame that would otherwise accompany his actions. Infidelity often involves a degree of self-deception. A man who cheats must construct a narrative that allows him to reconcile his actions with his self-image. This narrative may involve downplaying the significance of his betrayal, convincing himself that his actions are justified, or even framing himself as a victim of circumstance. Self-deception is a powerful tool, enabling the cheater to navigate his internal conflicts without fully confronting the harm he is causing. However, this self-deception also creates a barrier to genuine introspection and growth. Patterns of infidelity often follow a predictable trajectory. Initially, the man may feel a sense of exhilaration and freedom, believing that he has found a solution to his dissatisfaction. However, as time goes on, the reality of his actions begins to set in. The secrecy and deception required to maintain the affair become increasingly burdensome, creating a cycle of stress and anxiety. The relationship with his partner, meanwhile, continues to deteriorate as the emotional and physical distance between them grows. This trajectory underscores the inherently destructive nature of infidelity, both for the individual and the relationship. The dynamics of infidelity are not solely shaped by the cheater's actions. The partner's response, whether conscious or unconscious, also plays a role. A partner who senses that something is amiss may react in a variety of ways, from confrontation to withdrawal. These responses can inadvertently reinforce the cheater's behavior, creating a feedback loop that perpetuates the cycle of betrayal. Understanding this dynamic is essential, as it highlights the need for open communication and mutual accountability within the relationship. Another layer to consider is the long-term impact of cheating on the individual. While the immediate consequences of infidelity are often focused on the relationship, the cheater also faces significant personal repercussions. The guilt, shame, and self-loathing that accompany betrayal can have a profound effect on a man's mental and emotional well-being. Over time, these feelings can lead to a sense of disconnection from oneself, as the individual struggles to reconcile his actions with his values and identity. This disconnection is a stark reminder of the broader implications of infidelity, extending beyond the confines of the relationship itself. The ripple effects of infidelity are not confined to the immediate relationship but often extend to other areas of a man's life. His friendships, family dynamics, and professional interactions can all be influenced by the deception inherent in cheating. Maintaining the facade of normalcy requires a significant amount of emotional energy, which can leave the individual feeling drained and fragmented. Over time, this fragmentation can manifest as a lack of focus, irritability, or even a decline in physical health. These secondary consequences illustrate how infidelity is not just a relational issue but a deeply personal one, affecting the cheater's entire ecosystem. One of the most telling signs of a cheating man is his sudden inconsistency in behavior. This inconsistency may take many forms, such as fluctuating moods, erratic availability, or abrupt changes in routine. While life naturally involves some degree of unpredictability, these shifts often lack a logical explanation and seem out of character. For a partner attuned to the nuances of their relationship, these inconsistencies can be deeply unsettling, triggering a sense of unease that is difficult to articulate. This unease, while often dismissed initially, is a crucial signal that warrants attention. The act of cheating also creates a psychological divide within the cheater. On one side is the man who maintains the facade of loyalty and commitment, and on the other is the man who indulges in the affair. Balancing these two identities requires a level of cognitive and emotional compartmentalization that is both exhausting and unsustainable. Over time, the strain of living a double life begins to erode the cheater's sense of self, leading to feelings of fragmentation and internal conflict. This inner turmoil is often reflected in outward behavior, further complicating the dynamics of the relationship. Another behavior commonly observed in a cheating man is a heightened sense of defensiveness. He may react disproportionately to questions or concerns raised by his partner, perceiving them as accusations rather than attempts at understanding. This defensiveness often stems from a fear of exposure and an unwillingness to confront the truth. In some cases, the man may even accuse his partner of being overly suspicious or controlling, effectively deflecting attention from his own actions. This tactic, while manipulative, highlights the lengths to which a cheater will go to maintain his secret. Cheating also has a profound impact on a man's perception of intimacy. Within the context of the affair, intimacy may feel thrilling and new, offering a stark contrast to the familiarity of his primary relationship. However, this perception is often based on illusion rather than reality. The affair exists in a bubble, insulated from the responsibilities and challenges of everyday life. As a result, the cheater's understanding of intimacy becomes distorted, making it difficult for him to appreciate the depth and significance of the connection he shares with his partner. This distortion further undermines the foundation of the relationship, creating a cycle of disconnection and dissatisfaction. The act of cheating often brings to light unacknowledged fears and insecurities. A man who cheats may be grappling with feelings of inadequacy, fear of aging, or unresolved childhood traumas. These underlying issues, while not always directly related to the relationship, influence his behavior in significant ways. The affair becomes a means of escaping these fears, providing a temporary reprieve from the inner struggles that he has yet to confront. However, this escape is ultimately fleeting, as the unresolved issues resurface, often with greater intensity. The partner's role in navigating the aftermath of infidelity is both challenging and complex. Confronting a cheating partner requires immense emotional strength, as it involves addressing not only the betrayal itself but also the underlying issues that contributed to it. This process is further complicated by the cheater's potential resistance to accountability or change. A man who cheats may initially deny his actions, downplay their significance, or shift blame onto his partner. These responses, while painful, are often rooted in his own fear and shame, highlighting the need for a nuanced and empathetic approach. Despite the pain it causes, infidelity can also serve as a catalyst for personal growth and transformation. For the man who cheats, the experience of being confronted with his actions can prompt a period of introspection and self-evaluation. This process, while uncomfortable, offers an opportunity to address the underlying issues that led to the betrayal. Similarly, for the partner, the experience of navigating infidelity can foster a deeper understanding of their own needs, boundaries, and values. While the journey is undoubtedly difficult, it can lead to a renewed sense of clarity and purpose for both individuals involved. Another aspect worth examining is the role of power dynamics in infidelity. In some cases, a man may cheat as a means of asserting control or reclaiming a sense of agency. This is particularly common in relationships where he feels disempowered or constrained. The affair becomes a way of re-establishing his autonomy, albeit in a destructive and dishonest manner. Understanding this dynamic is crucial, as it highlights the importance of addressing power imbalances within a relationship. When both partners feel valued and empowered, the likelihood of infidelity diminishes significantly. It is important to recognize that cheating is rarely an isolated event. The patterns and behaviors that lead to infidelity are often present long before the act itself. These patterns may include poor communication, unresolved conflicts, or a lack of emotional intimacy. By identifying and addressing these issues early on, couples can create a stronger foundation for their relationship, reducing the risk of betrayal. While infidelity is a deeply painful experience, it also serves as a reminder of the importance of vigilance, effort, and mutual respect in sustaining a healthy and fulfilling partnership. When delving deeper into the psychological underpinnings of infidelity, we encounter the significant role of unmet expectations. Relationships are often built upon a shared set of expectations, whether explicit or implicit. These expectations encompass everything from emotional support to physical intimacy and mutual respect. When a man feels that these expectations are not being met, he may begin to rationalize behaviors that he would otherwise consider unacceptable. This process of rationalization often occurs gradually, allowing him to justify his actions without fully acknowledging the harm they cause. It's a form of self-deception that shields him from confronting the moral implications of his choices. This internal rationalization is often coupled with external blame. A cheating man may project his dissatisfaction onto his partner, accusing them of neglect, lack of affection, or other perceived shortcomings. This projection serves two purposes. It alleviates his guilt and creates a narrative where his actions appear to be a response to circumstances rather than a deliberate choice. By shifting the focus away from himself, he avoids the difficult task of self-reflection. However, this approach is inherently flawed, as it overlooks the importance of personal responsibility in maintaining the integrity of a relationship. Another critical factor to consider is the influence of opportunity. Cheating does not occur in a vacuum. It often arises from a combination of personal vulnerabilities and external circumstances. For example, a man who travels frequently for work may find himself in situations where the temptation to cheat is heightened. Similarly, access to social media and dating apps has made it easier than ever to initiate and sustain extramarital connections. While these opportunities do not cause infidelity, they lower the barriers to entry, making it easier for an individual to act on their impulses. Recognizing the role of opportunity highlights the need for vigilance and self-awareness in navigating modern relationships. In many cases, infidelity also involves a sense of entitlement. A man who cheats may believe that he is justified in seeking fulfillment outside the relationship because he feels deprived or unappreciated. This sense of entitlement is often rooted in societal or cultural norms that perpetuate double standards regarding fidelity. Men are sometimes conditioned to view infidelity as a less severe transgression than women, leading to a skewed perception of accountability. Challenging these norms is essential if we are to foster healthier attitudes toward commitment and respect in relationships. The impact of infidelity extends far beyond the immediate emotional pain it causes. For the partner who has been cheated on, the experience can lead to a profound sense of betrayal and loss. Trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to rebuild, as it requires both parties to engage in a process of healing and reconciliation. This process is often fraught with challenges, as it involves confronting painful truths and addressing the underlying issues that led to the betrayal. For the man who cheated, this process demands a willingness to take full accountability for his actions and to commit to meaningful change. Without this commitment, the relationship is unlikely to recover fully. At the same time, the partner's journey is equally complex. Healing from infidelity requires not only addressing the betrayal itself, but also exploring one's own needs, boundaries, and expectations. This exploration often leads to difficult questions about the future of the relationship, including whether it is worth saving. For some, the betrayal is a breaking point that signals the end of the partnership. For others, it becomes an opportunity to rebuild, creating a stronger and more resilient bond. In either case, the process is deeply personal and requires immense courage and introspection. Infidelity often exposes underlying vulnerabilities that were present long before the act of cheating occurred. These vulnerabilities may include a lack of communication, unresolved conflicts, or a disconnect in values and priorities. Addressing these vulnerabilities is essential, not only for repairing the relationship but also for preventing future instances of betrayal. This requires both partners to engage in open and honest dialogue, expressing their needs and concerns without fear of judgment. While this level of communication can be difficult to achieve, it is the cornerstone of a healthy and lasting relationship. The journey of rebuilding trust after infidelity is neither linear nor guaranteed. It requires a sustained effort from both partners, as well as a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. For the man who cheated, this involves acknowledging the full extent of the harm he has caused and taking concrete steps to rebuild the trust he has broken. This may include seeking therapy, establishing new boundaries, or making a consistent effort to demonstrate accountability and commitment. For the partner, it involves finding ways to process the pain of betrayal and to decide whether forgiveness is possible or even desirable. Despite the challenges it presents, infidelity can also serve as a powerful catalyst for growth. For the man who cheated, the experience of being confronted with his actions can prompt a period of deep introspection and self-awareness. This process often reveals underlying issues that extend beyond the relationship, such as unresolved traumas, unmet emotional needs, or a lack of personal integrity. Addressing these issues can lead to profound personal transformation, enabling the individual to approach future relationships with greater honesty and authenticity. For the partner, the experience of navigating infidelity can lead to a deeper understanding of their own values and priorities. It often prompts a reevaluation of what they want and need in a relationship, as well as a clearer sense of their boundaries and deal breakers. While the pain of betrayal is undeniable, it also serves as a reminder of the importance of self-respect and self-care. For some, this journey of self-discovery ultimately leads to a stronger sense of independence and empowerment, regardless of whether the relationship survives. The story of infidelity is one of complexity and contradiction. It is a reminder that human behavior is rarely black and white and that our choices are shaped by a myriad of factors, both internal and external. While cheating is undeniably a betrayal of trust, it also serves as a window into the deeper dynamics of relationships and the vulnerabilities that define us as individuals. By examining these dynamics with honesty and empathy, we can begin to understand the forces that drive infidelity and perhaps find ways to prevent it in the future. In reflecting on the dynamics of infidelity, we find ourselves delving into the intricate web of human behavior, relationships, and vulnerabilities. Cheating is never a singular act, it is a culmination of personal choices, unmet needs, and often unspoken struggles. It speaks to the complexities of intimacy and the challenges of maintaining trust and connection in an ever-changing landscape of personal and relational dynamics. While the pain and betrayal of infidelity can be devastating, it also forces us to confront truths that we may have long ignored. It reveals the gaps in communication, the unacknowledged emotional wounds, and the deeply rooted fears that drive people to seek solace outside their commitments. It sheds light on the human condition, our desire for connection, our susceptibility to temptation, and our capacity for both great love and profound betrayal. For the individual who has betrayed their partner, infidelity becomes a moment of reckoning, a chance to confront their choices and the values they have abandoned. It is a test of courage, humility, and the willingness to take responsibility. For the betrayed, it is a painful journey of rediscovery, one that challenges their sense of self, their boundaries, and their expectations for the future. And for both, it is a crossroads where decisions must be made about whether to rebuild or walk away. Infidelity reminds us of the fragility and resilience of human relationships. It teaches us that love alone is not enough, that trust, communication, and mutual effort are the pillars upon which enduring connections are built. It calls for deeper introspection, greater honesty, and a recognition of the work required to maintain intimacy in the face of life's inevitable challenges. Infidelity is not just a story of betrayal, it is a story of humanity. It is a reminder of our imperfections and the choices we make when confronted with them. It is a call to strive for better, to seek understanding, to foster growth, and to approach our relationships with the care and integrity they deserve. And in this striving, we may find not only the strength to heal, but also the wisdom to create something stronger, deeper, and more enduring in its wake.